In my practice as a dietitian, some of the challenges that breastfeeding moms who are going back to work actually face is, number one, there's the stress aspect of leaving your child at home and going to a new environment. There's that emotional attachment that a woman has with her baby, so the fact that she has left the baby at home and gone back to work is already a source of stress, and this will definitely affect or influence milk production negatively. Another thing, the lactation policy in Kenya was just left at that. It's just a policy. Most companies do not even support breastfeeding because we do not even have lactation rooms or even storage rooms whereby the moms can comfortably store their milks after expressing. So you find that most moms find it difficult to express their milk and actually pour it, because by the time they get home the milk is already gone bad and the babies cannot be fed sour milk. So my name is Lilian Momina. I am a registered dietitian, and in honor of World Breastfeeding Awareness Week, we are going to talk about some of the things that you can do as a working mom so that we can support breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, regardless of whether you're working or not. So the first thing that you need to do is actually address that stressful factor. You need to prepare. I know it's easier said than done, because at the end of the day, depending on your work culture, you actually knew the amount of time that you're going to be having away from work. And of course, indefinitely, whether you like it or not, the fact that you have to leave your baby at home and go to work, it will become a source of stress. So you need to anticipate for that by making sure that you are preparing for the low production times. The first few weeks, the breast milk might not be so much, but when you practice habits that actually improve breastfeeding or improve lactation, your breast milk supply actually increases gradually. Then when you start force pumping, you can actually be having some extras to store after the baby has fed. Remember that you don't store breast milk if the baby is not well fed. You store after the baby has taken up enough nourishment. So the next thing that you can do as a mom is actually increase your intake of nutritious, healthy foods that actually support breastfeeding. Things like njahe. You know, I used to wonder why people used to be told to take njahe, but when you actually take up and start thinking about the nutrient composition of njahe, it's very nutritious. It's very rich in iron, it's very rich in minerals, it's rich in vitamins and even protein. It's like a whole complete food, and it's going to supply your body with enough nourishment so that the body can support the extra needs that is needed for breastfeeding. Things like fenugreek, things like fennel seeds, things like oats, things like broth, because they are going to supply with extra collagen, extra amines, extra proteins and such things. You can also take up a supplement. I'm one of those people who believes that lactation cookies is just something that to help the mom relax, unless they are actually constituted in a way that they are going to provide you with extra nourishment. I don't think there is such a thing. Maybe you can correct me in the comment section, but I don't believe in such things. So for lactations, if you want to support lactation for a mom, make sure that you increase your intake of water, increase your intake of well-nourished foods, increase your intake of well-nutritious foods, And then the problem we have as moms when you're breastfeeding is that there's that hunger cues and thirst cues, because there's increased water needs and there's increased food needs. We tend to take up all the cues and we take them to carbohydrates. So we find ourselves that we are taking up only carbohydrate rich foods, and this is not the time to take only carbohydrates, because you need all the nutrients. You need the omegas, you need the vitamins, you need the minerals, you need the proteins, because you're also healing from childbirth and you also are trying to support the body so that it can actually produce for you and the baby enough milk. The other thing that you can do as a working mom to support breastfeeding is actually seek for help. If you are in a position to move closer to work or be in a position whereby you can go and see your baby over lunch hour or over a break, that would be really, really good. I know for most of us it's almost impossible for a mom to leave town. Maybe you live at the other end of Ngong or you live at the other end of Thika to go and breastfeed your baby at lunch hour. But if it's possible for you to actually leave your workstation and go to your house and breastfeed your baby over lunch hour, it is very much recommended, because that bond when you're breastfeeding your baby actually works much better than actually expressing away from the baby. You can even go and breastfeed the baby, and then after breastfeeding her or him, you go and actually express immediately, so that you actually harness the effect of that emotional or the mood changes that come with seeing the baby. Another thing that we moms can actually do when you've gone back to work and you want to continue with exclusive breastfeeding is actually purpose to pump that milk. I know it's hard. After all, breast milk is liquid gold. So it's quite hard for you as a mom to express the milk and then have to pour it because maybe it went bad, or because you have to do that because your baby cannot take milk that has been stored in not so friendly conditions for more than 4 hours. You don't want to to transfer infectious agents or make your baby sick because of giving them milk that is already gone bad. So one of the things that you can do actually is just pump, even if you have to pour. Just make sure that you're pumping. If you are feeding the baby after every 2 to 3 hours, continue with the same schedule when you go back to work. Get that lubric and pump for even after every 2 to 3 hours if it's possible. Why am I talking about this? It's because it's very important to continue and support lactation even when the baby is away. You're telling your body that, okay, fine, we might be away from the baby, but we still need milk, so I'm going to need you to produce for me enough and adequate milk so that I can actually feed my baby. Another thing that you need to do as a mom is try as much as you can to get the work-life balance in check, because at the end of the day we still want to chase the paper, but we also want to be good mothers and we also want to be healthy humans. And if you don't strike that balance between the work life, motherhood, work, and taking care of yourself, you will not be in a position to take care of your baby and your family well. So as much as we are trying to push you to produce for us milk, we are trying to push you to produce results for that employer or that business, try as much as you can to push yourself to be the best version of yourself so that you can be the best, you can offer the best to both your children, your family, and even your employer. So thank you so much for watching, and remember that breast milk is actually the best. The substitute are just that substitute, they just mimic the breast milk, and they are actually not recommended or advisable if you, the mom, can actually produce enough for the baby. Try as much as you can, and again, seek for support. That is why we have so many dietitians in Kenya. Seek for support, work with a dietitian, let them help you. Sometimes support just comes from give that phone call to tell you that it's okay, you can do it. That is enough support. So just try as much as you can to get a support system to ensure that we support breastfeeding and feed our babies the best that we can. So until next time, consider subscribing. Bye.